there's a rule out there that says that it may hit you with that gift tax if you borrowed over $10,000 from someone.
Welcome back, folks. It's episode 53. It's about your paycheck.
Yes, it is.
And before we get into the main subject, as always, what's up, Walt?
What's up with you, Brian? All good? I'm good over here, man. You good?
I'm good, man. Yeah, bro. We're recording on a Friday today. We usually record on Mondays, but it's just feeling the Friday fun day, vibes,
Yeah,
and the week
yeah, yeah,
vibes. So I'm extra like, yeah, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But yeah, man. Yeah, bro.
Good, man. Good, man. Closing out year end for our 9 to 5
Yeah.
jobs and stuff like
Yep.
that. Some of you that might be listening might be in payroll, HR, finance, and you know how it goes, accounting, whatever you're into. You might be closing something out, and even in other industries that we may not even be, privy to or, have experience with. You may
Knowledge
be
of.
for a new year
Yeah.
for your business and stuff like that. Things might be ramping up for you this new year too.
More importantly, W-2s will be
Yeah,
I just released
yeah,
W-2s not this Monday I did it and it hit
yep,
right away too. I was like, "Oh, cool." So
yep.
folks is, getting their W-2s, tax season, everybody wanna,
Quick tip, there's an episode out there. Brian gives a great nugget about not using your last pay stub to file your taxes.
yes. Please don't do that because as payroll pros,
Mhm.
we still have time after 12/31 to
Make
post
adjustments.
and I did it this year that
Yep,
impact your W 2. So that is
yep.
why the government gives us till January 31st legally
Mhm,
to
mhm.
distribute 32s, W 2s. I had a shot of Hennessy already. Sorry.
Turn the W to the side then.
33. That is why the government gives us time, folks, because we can
Yep.
run. And you know what I did learn though? The different
What's up?
companies don't. How can I say? Different companies have different cutoffs as far as how far into
Yes,
January. I didn't know that.
yes.
I've been on ADP for a long time, and ADP gives you kind of a few weeks into January, so you can do your thing and post back to 2024 or the prior year.
Yep.
Yeah, folks, I remember those days where people used to, oh, my last, but it's a hit or miss. You're gambling when you do that, just to let you know, because you never know what your
Yeah,
company has to do to fit,
yes.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Great nugget, man. So if you're listening, please take that advice.
Yeah,
It's for your own good.
for real.
All right, so current events, pay news. We got anything you want to chat about?
Only to the fact that we are going to do a show that, and I like it. It keeps coming up. We might actually do it in career learning as well for Fridays on the payroll side for how
Mhm.
Trump or just the new president. It doesn't, everybody's getting on Trump, but any new president can impact income, okay? Can
Yes,
impact our
yes.
paycheck. So we are going to do a show on that. What's up?
That's interesting that you say that because my supervisor at my 9 to 5 today said something about how the administration is going to impact DEI and stuff like that for
Oh,
work
yeah.
and rolling back different things and how that may, you know, impact stuff at work.
You're right, and those are all good topics. DEI meaning what is it called? Diversity. What?
Equality, inclusion, like that, something like
Diversity.
that.
Let's look it up for the folks because we already
So we
talking.
can be official dish.
Yeah, we because I don't even know. I know what it means, but I don't know what it means. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
you're right.
means
Diversity, equity, and
equity,
inclusion.
inclusion. Okay.
That's a whole nother show right there talking about it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we can.
I don't. I'm not. I am neither a Trump hater nor a Trump supporter.
Yep.
But I do think he's getting a raw deal because just like Biden did, honestly, just like every president does, they get to dump
Yep.
on them for whatever's going on in the world. And I guess
Yeah.
that's a little current event bit here. And I don't know if that's fair or not. Is he doing things that are going to unravel the world? I doubt it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he has to he has checks and balances. That's what the government was
Yeah.
built on.
Yep.
Capitalism's not going to go away.
People are gonna get richer.
I don't know. I don't know. No, I feel like
I, di-
the
I
rich are gonna get richer.
yeah, the rich are definitely
So
gonna get richer,
so
and
perfect
it's a good
segue.
show, man. It's a good show.
Perfect segue, right? Because one of our
Yeah,
challenges that we
for
want to
ourselves this year.
and a segment that we're going to bring to the show and kind of report on every show is, so we're going to do a financial fitness challenge, right?
Yep.
What can you save on every
Hmm.
week, right? We do this show weekly.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we look back at our finances anyway because it's time to file taxes. We're business owners, so we
Hmm.
have to kind of factor in what we're spending money on our business as
Yeah.
opposed to our
Yeah.
personal. So we have to itemize. And itemizing, if you're not familiar, is there's a good little nugget. So most folks, if you only have a 9 to 5, you just kind of do a
Hmm.
standard deduction.
Yeah.
And if you itemize, you get to say, okay, I'm not going to do the standard deduction means you get to just claim kind of an amount. I don't even know what the amount
Yeah.
is, but it's a standard amount. But an itemize
Hmm.
says, okay, we're not going to do the standard amount because you have a list of expenses that you
Hmm.
spent above and beyond your standard deduction. And you're a
Yeah.
business owner, you get to factor all these things in. A family member called me recently and was like, "What do I do?" Because they own a business as well, and I was like, "You need to get a CPA because I don't know."
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? As soon as I got to that, as soon as we got to the point where became business owners and we were spending money and making money, I don't know. I need a CPA.
Yeah.
Anywho, we get to itemize. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna look back at the year, what we spent last year. So it's an easy way, it's a perfect time to say, okay, what did we spend last year? And then
Yep.
what can we do better this year to save? So we're going to do a
Yeah.
financial fitness challenge to save money because
Yep. I like that.
this show is about our paycheck, right? Our earnings, our deductions, our taxes, and our savings or spending rather.
And look, what better way to show that than by being transparent and giving an actual of
Exactly.
what's going on with us? You
Exactly.
know, we got to lead by example here.
Yeah, put our money where our mouth is. And me and
Yeah.
Walt and I had this conversation. So we were like, yo, let's really put our money where our mouth is. And then on top
Yeah.
of that, we're gonna do like we call it a side hustle challenge, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though we have a side, this is our side hustle. But
Yeah.
what I think it's like a cool little because the internet will have you thinking you can make $1 million on your phone, right? You
Yeah.
get all amped up. Oh, it can be a
Yep.
million, and you can, but it's work as well.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
put
It
in
is work.
time. I don't know
Yep.
if you figured out what you want to do yet, Walt, but what I definitely committed to because I had that idea for myself anyway and I was gonna
Yeah.
kick it with you is this was a post that somebody we saw on TikTok. I
Yeah.
shared it with you,
Yeah.
and he said because Trump is in now, things are gonna change, and the thing he said he's gonna drive the economy. So in a good way. So go and take advantage of it. And one of those things is the stock market. If
Nice.
Trump is gonna
Okay.
make the rich richer, that means these companies' stock prices are gonna climb. Now, if you
Yep.
pick the right ones,
Yep.
you make some money. Go ahead.
It's the long game too,
Yes,
right? So,
stock is the
there's
long game.
gonna be fluctuations
Yes.
and stuff like that, so you can't freak out if there's a big drop and then big gain. It's the long game you're gonna have to play, right?
Yep.
If you want to.
Right.
If you wanna if the stocks shoot up and you wanna sell and get out, that's up to you.
Exactly.
But, that's your own choice, and so, me, I'm somewhere between. I'm definitely gonna do the stock thing.
Okay.
I'm looking at some other online things that you can do. There's some stuff where you can play games and take surveys
Yep. Yep.
and do that. So I may just do that and do that from my phone. The only other thing is OnlyFans, but I don't know. Oh god. Yeah.
Oh man.
See, I had to leave Brian speechless with that one. All right.
I'm trying to think of your name. Yeah.
Waltiest Walt.
Oh no. You need
Mhm.
a we
We'll come up with a name.
sexual chocolate.
Yeah, special chocolate. Yep. Oh
Big
gosh.
sexy.
Yeah, man. Oh gosh. All right, man. So we got some. I got some quick news
Okay,
things.
go for it.
We're gonna get to our show.
Yeah, of
This
course.
isn't.
We're
This
still
is not a year end show, but we gave you the nuggets that you needed. But the show is really about friends, family, and finances,
Yes.
and how they work together and how they maybe impact it.
How we're
So
impacted,
yeah,
how our pocket is impacted. When Walt
by
pitched the show to me, I was like, yeah, that's the thing, because it's like how our money is impacted by our friends and family around us. That's how I've
the circle of people
interpreted
we
it.
keep around
Yep.
us. Yes. So look, before we get into it, I do have some stuff, in that kind of along the same lines about borrowing. And I did a comparison between borrowing from loved ones, borrowing from the banks.
Okay.
And here goes some stats for you. So when you borrow from friends and family, it says on average that individuals borrow about a little over $1,000 from friends and family. And it's often for immediate needs and emergencies, right? And then banks are a little higher because you can get a personal loan anywhere from 1,000 to $50,000 or more, depending on your credit,
Yep.
right? And the bank and its lending policies, right? And then here was another interesting stat about the differences in between male and female and how much they borrow, right? So it says typically a borrow males borrow more from friends and family, about $4,400, and while females average around $2,500 in loans from family.
So I
So
got comments about all this.
yeah, it was
One, the borrowing from friends and family at $1,000 average makes sense because what's the stat that we found?
we don't, if something happens, we don't have
We
a
don't
thousand dollars to save.
Americans don't
Mhm.
have at least $1,000 saved. So
Yep,
that's right on brand.
yep,
Two, borrowing from banks 1 to 50,000. Don't get gas because your credit needs to be good to get a
yes,
thousand
yes,
dollars from a bank.
yeah,
Okay, so that's a whole nother conversation. And then
yep,
the gender difference. The only thing I could think about is I feel like women are more conservative, by far the smarter gender. Don't get crazy on us, okay? But I think that probably why men are more risk takers. Not that there aren't women risk takers, but I think they're just more conservative. They're smarter. They're just think on
yeah,
a more balanced level. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Some women, hey, men aren't good with money.
Because we're like, yeah, YOLO.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yep.
So I think all those little nuggets make sense and kind of are on brand.
Okay, nice,
Yeah,
man. All right. So before we get into it, what we got to do,
let's pay
Brian?
the bills.
Yes, sir. So you might have some ambitious goals for 2025, right? But remember that you need a well organized team. That is the foundation for success. So in 2025, streamline your business operations with TimeTrak Go. They have a user-friendly time tracking system software that empowers you to get organized, right? So say goodbye to messy spreadsheets and inaccurate time entries. Effortlessly track those employee hours with their user-friendly time clock. Streamline those time off requests and approvals with their intuitive system, and automate that vacation and sick leave policy that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you know me, I'm not really a new year, new me deal. But if you're ready to make 2025 your best year yet, sign up for a
Mhm.
free trial of TimeTrak Go today and experience the difference. In just minutes, you'll be on your way to increased productivity, reduced payroll errors, improved employee satisfaction. That's y'all, and more time to focus on what matters. If you're an employee out there and your time tracking is not good, go to your people,
Mhm.
go to your leaders, go to your payroll, go to your HR and say, please go get time track go. Okay.
Yep.
Because I need to get paid accurately on time every time. Because Walt will tell you he found the data out there. If you all get paid more than 2 times wrong, you're thinking about a new job.
Yep.
So go help that company out. Keep If you like your job, help them keep it, right? Help
Yep.
yourself keep it. So don't let time tracking become a burden to you or your company, and go out and let time track simplify your life and help you achieve the goals in 2025. Go visit timetrackgo.com. That's WTIMETRAKGO.com. Got to make sure I spell correctly. www.timetrackgo.com. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right.
All right, man. Let's get into the nitty gritty here
Let's get
with
into
this
the
main
fun.
topic. I'm excited to talk about this one. So
Yes.
look, we have some data here and insights. We're going to talk about our own experiences with borrowing, being the borrower and being the borrowee, right? Being borrowed from,
Yeah.
right? Look, financial support from friends and family, it's crucial sometimes, man, and especially during emergencies. And there's a study out there by BlackRock Emergency Savings Initiative that highlighted that many people rely on their social circles for financial assistance when those unexpected expenses arise. Right? I've been there. I've had work friends, even friends that I'm not people that I'm no longer friends with, that when I was struggling, bro, the struggle. There's some of you that are going
Yep.
through the struggle right now where I didn't have $20 for groceries.
Yep.
I didn't have anything.
Yep.
My account was negative.
Yep.
Those bank fees were eating my,
Stop with the bank triggers.
tearing
When you
my.
say bank
Yeah,
fees, I get triggered, bro. I think about this
but
one
I've
time in
been
my
there.
life.
I've been there. And so look, when my account was negative and I didn't have anything, and I had to go ask somebody at work that I was cool with and friends with, hey, can I get $40? I'll pay you back next time I get paid. And without hesitation, they gave it to me, and it helped me out. Asking my mom, "Hey, mom, can I borrow this?"
Oh, my
You
mom's
know,
been my lifesaver, bro. Forget about it.
yeah. And look, so sometimes, according to Investopedia, sometimes lending to your friends and family can be trickier. So sometimes, depending on the nature of your relationship, you may have to come to some sort of agreement, documenting it, maybe getting something notarized or whatever,
Yes.
because if you're not clear and you don't emphasize what the terms are for you,
Yes.
and the other person is, just okay, I know I said I was gonna pay my mom back. I know I said I was gonna pay my brother or my cousin back or whatever. And then your cousin's looking to get those funds back, and you just, just doing your thing and just ignoring that. They may feel some type of
They see
way.
you at the club and they're like, "Wait a
Yeah,
minute, how you going to the club tonight? You still owe me $40."
yeah, for real. Yeah.
I mean,
So,
man,
how do you feel about that, bro?
it. First off, you got to put Black Rock on your possible OnlyFans name. It hit me when
That's
I
so
saw it. I was like,
good, bro.
"That's just, there you
Oh
go."
my god.
Okay, look, I,
Oh man.
you know, I don't think that it mixes well. Family and money with
Mm,
family and friends is tough, man, because, you know, I think the rule of thumb that you have to have if you are a generous person
yeah, yeah,
and what do they call bleeding heart or things like whatever, you're just
yeah.
nice and you want to help out, you can only loan air quotes
Mhm.
for those on podcast, and not on YouTube with us, air
Yeah,
quotes, you can only loan what you can afford to lose.
exactly. Exactly. And how many times I know people and families, my family and other people's families, that have hurt themselves
Hmm.
in order to help
Somebody else.
someone in their circle.
Yeah. And you can't,
You know what I'm saying?
you shouldn't do that. Not that you can do it. You do whatever you want to do. You're grown,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But you shouldn't do that. And that's an easy rule of thumb. You shouldn't loan what you can't afford to lose. And how many relationships and families have you seen destroyed because of money? How many
yes, bro.
marriages and and romantic relationships get messed up because of money,
Exactly,
right?
like, you had that one partner that you're with, and they borrow money from your family because your
Oh,
family owes you money,
that's
and then they have to,
oh,
and then it's like a mess, right?
that's
Look, one of these resources that, that Wells Fargo, there's a section down here that Wells Fargo put out, a small business resource,
okay.
right? And it talked about what to do and like tips for borrowing from friends and family. There's some stuff on here I wanted to mention to
Yeah.
you that I didn't think about, right?
Okay.
And so, of course, one of the cons that they have on here is that it may create, like we were speaking to, family conflict,
That's
right?
right.
But one of the other things they put is that, unlike getting a loan from actual financial, getting loans from your family doesn't build your credit,
That's right.
right? So
Can help you pay
getting a
off a
loan,
credit card, but it ain't gonna help you build
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
Hey, y'all, I'm Lee Cage Jr., and I'd like to invite you to listen into my podcast, 15 Minutes with. 15 Minutes with rising stars and seasoned disruptors, thought leaders, and change agents who are sharing how they're reshaping work, rethinking worth, and reimagining what's possible. This is fast paced, heartfelt, and unfiltered. These aren't just conversations, they're catalysts. So tune in, elevate, share the shift. 15 Minutes with, wherever you get your podcast.
It depends, but yeah, I get what they're saying. Right. Directly
Yeah.
it doesn't, unless you're actually using it to pay off a credit card.
And then think about this. If the IRS gets a hold of how much money you've been loaned from someone, they technically there's a rule out there that says that it may hit you with that gift tax if you borrowed over $10,000 from someone,
Yep,
you know.
that's true. Yeah, that's
So,
true. Yeah. Yeah. I hope nobody's telling on IRS in your That'll be fun. But see, this is the things that
bro.
come up. You know what I mean? This is
Mhm.
why it gets so tricky with family. And I honestly, I live by that rule. I do. I give my family money, but I only give it when I can afford to lose it. I can only give as much as I can afford to lose. I live by
Yep.
that rule. If I can't afford to lose it, I ain't got it for you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't, and you definitely play favorites. There's some people in the family
Yeah.
is a no regardless, and there's some people in the
Yeah.
family that I'm there for them because
Yeah.
it's reciprocal, right? We build relationships with
Yes.
people,
Yes.
friends. This friend, our business relationship right here. You know what I mean?
Yep. And
Honestly,
look,
I know Walt is gonna has that character that he's not gonna be all right with himself if he don't pay me back. So I'm gonna be
yeah.
okay with lending him some bread if he needed it.
Yes. And look, and just to kind of go down that rabbit hole there. Look, Brian and I, when we had conversations when we started this business, I hope it's okay if I mention this,
Absolutely, go
right?
ahead.
Because
Yeah, I don't know what you're
Brian
gonna say, but go
is
ahead.
not Brian, there's a discomfort
Yep,
that Brian gets when discussing money,
yep.
right? With certain
My
folks,
wife
right?
says it
And
all the
so
time, bro. She's don't. Yep,
but you're the one who mentioned that to me.
yep,
And so you said, "Hey, bro, I understand that you're saying, Walt, and I understand you're saying you won't do this and you won't do that, but for me,
yes,
this will make me feel better if we sign something."
yep,
Oh, and I'm over here. Oh no, bro, dude, I would never. But how many times have people heard that?
yep, yep.
Oh, I would never sue
I
you.
heard it
Oh, I
too
would
many
never do
times.
this.
Exactly. From blood.
I would never.
You know what I
Yes,
mean?
that's the thing, man. And look, it's just not about borrowing money. We can really
You're right.
dive deep into this because there's inheritances
Yep.
that people fight over.
Oh my. Oh.
Someone passes or leaves something,
Ooh.
and then you want to fight over it
Yep.
and stuff like that.
Yep.
Family, friends, and finances.
Yep. Yep. No, it's true, man. It's true, bro. Wifey says it all the time. We have a monthly conversation and kind of update, and she sees me
Hmm.
tense up right away. And recently she said something that made sense. I'm so sorry that I don't know what it was, but something messed you up as a kid, and it was just is growing up poor. That's
Yeah, yeah,
lower middle class. You know what I mean?
yep,
Because we weren't dirt poor, but we were not upper middle class or rich. It was just, there was times that I knew looking back, I realized, wait, I had
hmm
pancakes for dinner that week. You know what I mean? Lights were
yeah,
off. This was that. I got stories, and shout
yeah,
out, no disrespect because my mom is a fan of the show and watches the clips and things and Ma, I
yeah,
love you,
yeah,
but what's real is real. And she brought us out of that and we got past it,
yeah,
but I you know, I'm gonna save the story for a book because me and Walt will be
yeah, yeah, yeah,
authors
yeah, yeah.
this year and next year and a
Yes,
couple more
sir.
years. But things happen. It's just
Yeah,
things that happen, and bread was, money and literal bread were an issue.
yeah, and look, we're gonna get into the psychology of how
That's
trauma
a
and
good
those
one.
things
Yeah, I like that,
impact our spending habits and impact our
and
relationship
that's
with
real for
money.
me now.
Yeah, yes, and exactly, and like it can go into like growing up lacking or going through those experiences could plant seeds in your mind and in your soul, whatever how you want to say it,
Yep,
right? And then you grow up, and then when you didn't have money, now you have money, and it's like water in your
Yep.
hands, right? You can't hold on to water, right? It's gonna just
Go.
slip through your fingers,
Just
right?
yep. Yep.
And that's how money is for some of us because that might be some of the reason we don't. Some of us don't have $1,000 in the. We could potentially could, but we when we get money, we got to spend money because we didn't have it earlier in life.
Yep. Food insecurities.
Yes,
There
bro.
was some that I said that's why I was the one that brought that up because I was like, and babe, I love you, and don't get mad at me here, but like wifey has an issue with looking in the fridge and it being looking too empty.
Yeah.
It's a food insecurity. She feels right away. It's like she kind of upset about that.
Yeah.
And I don't feel any kind of way with it because I know we have the money to go to Publix because we're in the South, we're in
Mhm.
Florida, and we can go to Publix, a grocery store, and buy whatever we
Yeah.
need. So
Yep.
it's not a
Yep.
thing like the food. How can I say the food? How eat? Like I'm like, look, Publix ain't closing. Why are we
Yeah.
worried about it? Why are we insecure about it? We're good. We're
Yeah.
not. But I guess it
It's
makes her feel like we're broke.
bro. And that's the psychology piece of it, right?
Yes.
Because do you ever have those moments? And I'll be real about my experiences and my trauma in life where I I'm 40 something years old, but a thought or a memory could come from my 20s, my
Hmm.
teens, and I could think about it and
Yeah.
my brain will make me feel like I'm
That
in that
way.
moment.
Yes.
And I would feel
Absolutely.
like all and I would
Absolutely.
feel that pressure or
Yep.
whatever those emotions.
Yep.
And it's like, man, that's still buried deep in that memory. My brain is still recognizing that, and my body's still feeling that. I totally empathize and sympathize with what your wife experiences, right?
Yeah.
Because that's her experience. You have your experience, I have my experience, and that impacts us, right? And that's a perfect segue into some of these other things that we have here about how race and how your family dynamic may impact
Your
your
money.
circle, your finances,
Yeah.
right? Single versus two parent homes. Single
Definitely a
parent
big
homes,
difference.
experience higher poverty rates
Yep.
than two parent homes.
Especially
For
today.
example,
Grocery
yeah,
bills, minimum
mhm,
wage. Sorry to interrupt. Go
yeah.
ahead.
No, you're good. For example, single mother homes have a median income of $40,000 with a poverty rate of 28%,
Wow.
while two parent homes have more stability, right?
Yep.
Dual incomes. Race and yeah, it comes into this too. Black and brown kids, me and Brian, especially living in single parent homes, are 3.5 times more likely to have a struggle than those homes with two parents, right? I had both of my parents until I was 18 and we still struggled. What's up? What you got to say?
It makes me it's really look. I'm gonna be vulnerable and honest with y'all, right? Because
Yeah.
Welcome to the Human Role, your go to podcast where HR and payroll collide with innovation. I'm your host, Tiana Neal, and every month I'm diving deep with industry experts and change makers, bringing you real talk insights, practical tips, and fresh takes you won't hear anywhere else. Whether you're a leader, practitioner, or just curious about the latest HR and payroll trends, I've got you covered. Ready to roll with the best? Tune in for fresh perspectives, actionable tips, and the knowledge you need to roll forward with confidence. Subscribe now and let's transform the way you work.
when I had it kind of the opposite for me. Because
Mm,
when I had a two parent home, my father was an addict,
mm,
so my mom always had a great job. But my father died from alcohol and drug abuse when I was 14 years old.
yeah.
So it was like she was in the negative because didn't matter
Mm,
how much she made and how good she did and what we would bring. My father was out in the streets.
yeah.
It wasn't until she was a single parent after my father died at 14, right? That she actually leveled up and now her finances became more stable. So it was the
Yeah.
opposite for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a
Yeah.
little it
Yeah, every dynamic is
every
different, right?
dynamic
So
is different.
thank you for sharing that, bro.
Yep.
Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that story. Some of you that might be listening might be going through that right now. Like just to encourage you, like Brian said, his mom came out of that. it was an unfortunate circumstance
Yep.
that led to that, but, she did eventually come out of that, and so you may come out of that too, and we're praying that you do,
Word.
So gender, we talked about single, mothers facing more poverty and stuff like that, but then, there might be an impact of based on your sexuality and who you decide to love, right? There aren't a lot of stats out there, but you may come from a real religious family or a family that feels some type of way about certain type of relationships,
Hmm.
right? And they may shun you and you may struggle. You may really struggle. And
If you're openly
like,
gay and your parents
yeah,
don't accept it, you lose that support, right?
there you
And I
go.
want to back up here on the gender piece. Men still make more than women, even right
Mm,
now, 2025. So that
yep.
we still have to close that gender gap. So if you're a single person or parent, a mother, that's why mothers are kind of being singled out here because they're female, right? And that's why
Yep.
they struggle more because they make less than men, whether you're a parent or not.
Yep. Yep.
And then fast forward or to the next topic. Yeah, if you're openly gay and you come out to your family and they don't support you, guess what? You lose that support.
Yeah.
And then if
Yeah.
you're openly gay and like people see it in the world, they may not give you opportunities if they feel a
Yep.
way about it.
Whatever you are, if you're in that LGBTQIA, plus community, you may face some type of discrimination and
Yep.
be and have less support,
Less
and that's why a lot of
opportunity,
them
less
flock
support.
together, yes,
Yeah.
and look, going back to what you said about men and the gender pay gap, right? In 2025, there's a stat out there that said that women in 2025 are expected to make only 83% of what their male counterparts, right? So, think about this. So, if there's a dollar,
Yep.
a man's gonna get a dollar and a woman's gonna get
83
83 cents.
cents. Yep. It might be better than yesterday. It might be getting better, but it's still not equal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's
Yeah.
plenty of women do this job better than we do. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Right? But we make more
Yes.
than them.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So it's
Yeah.
tough, man. It's
Man.
tough. It's a really good subject when Walt is basically our producer for the show, right? And he brings pitches the ideas. Let's do this, let's do that. And he was adamant about this one. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I thought it was a great conversation, because we have
Yeah.
those personal experiences. Family does impact our pockets, our money.
Yep.
And it sounds like, oh, of course, obviously, but no, think about it, right? Because my situation was opposite of what the stats say.
Yes.
So that's why it's such a impactful conversation because you don't know
Yeah.
how it's going to impact you. Yours could be
Yeah.
different, right? You could be
Yep.
great. You don't even realize that people struggle this way.
Like the stat said, single parent homes do better. At my home, I had my both my parents until the age of 18, right? And until I went to the military and we still had some struggle.
Yeah, yeah. Another one time it's like an example, right? One time,
Yeah.
and you could tell how people again how folks go through different things. I was at a workspace and we were talking about spam. Spam, the canned meat,
Yes.
the canned
Yes. Yes.
processed meat that's very popular in Hawaii. Apparently, I
Yes.
haven't been there, but I see it
They
on
have a
TV.
little spam roll. I love
Spam.
those things, bro. Yes,
Have you
bro.
had? Have you been to Hawaii?
No, I
Oh,
no,
oh, you had a
I
spam
dated
roll?
someone. Yeah,
I,
yeah,
how?
dated someone. There's Hawaiian barbecue
No
spots, bro.
way. And they
Yeah,
make it?
bro. Yes.
Oh man. See, I don't know if there's a Hawaiian spot out here. I'm gonna have to look for that.
I guarantee you there
Yeah,
is.
they're probably right. Okay, so anywho, we're around it was an open seating type of situation at work and
Yeah.
spam came up. And there was a few people at the table that had never
Mhm.
eaten spam. And I said, "You know what?
Wow.
Consider yourself lucky. You're privileged to not have had to eat spam growing up." You talking about spam was
Mm.
my joint. I used to have
Bro,
was spam on toast with mustard. That was my sandwich
ooh,
right there.
mine was fried bologna with some mustard, bro.
Ooh.
And toasted bro, that used to be my
And
jam.
then how about this? Potted ham, the one you spread on
Oh, yeah, the potted meat. Yep.
potted meat. Who
Yep.
does? What is this? It's like
Yep,
the
like
insides of
Sling
a hot
Blade.
dog on in a
Yep.
can that you could spread. I used to love
Yep.
the hell out of them
Those
sandwiches.
Vienna sausages.
Vienna sauce is kind of a steak. We still kind of eat that in the it's a Spanish rice that
Yeah, bro.
mom's makes and is in there. Hey, we
Yep.
leveled up now, kind of put some different things, but that she makes that one every now and then too.
Yeah, bro.
Still legit, So
Mhm.
it's different things that we experience growing up because the struggle is real. You know what I mean? The struggle
Mhm.
is real, man, and all these different things, because it's basically if you're a single parent, if you're a single black parent, if you're a single woman parent, you
Mhm.
probably have less of an opportunity, or you going, you may be more prone to struggle, right?
Yep.
And again, if you're outwardly gay, you might have
Yep.
a problem in the world. And I say
Yep.
outwardly or because some folks you don't know, they're like, oh, I didn't even know they were gay. Yeah, how are you supposed to know? But some folks you do. Just call it
Mhm.
real. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It's not discrimination. It's not any type of thing, and it is what it is, right? If it whatever, but and especially your family. The point is with this is your family because a lot of our support is from our family, but if they
Yep.
shun you for some reason,
Yep.
now you lose that
And
support. Now it's harder for you to be out in the world.
look, and lots of things happen. It may do something like you were speaking to, it may do something with who you choose to love.
Yep.
It may do something with who you choose to believe in or who your God
Oh
is,
yeah.
your
Oh,
religion.
I've
Some
known
people.
Muslim friends
Yeah.
that and their families are like, "No, we're Christian. You were raised
Yep.
Catholic. You were raised. You can't be
Yes.
Muslim." What?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? What do you
Yep.
mean? Or
Yep.
just non-religious folks
Yep.
that are like, "No, I choose
Yep.
not to be, and I'm agnostic. I'm atheist. Whatever it is."
Yep.
And
Yep.
you're shunned from this family. Like, come on.
Yep.
So all these
Yep.
things may impact your financial. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
Basically, if you do have a good family, it does help you in the world, right? If you
Yeah.
have, what
Good.
do they say? It takes a village, right?
Yep.
And if you don't have a village, it's tougher for you
Yeah.
out there,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry for you, and I hope that you find support.
And it's even harder if you burn those bridges.
Yes. And that could happen too. And look, and may rightfully so in some cases.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, you know, I hope my moms don't catch this clip, but she had, her pops was not a good dude.
Yep.
And she was happy to be away from him. Look, bro, she didn't even go to his funeral.
Wow.
And yeah, that I remember that hit, and because I was only, I don't know, 12, 13 years old. I was young,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that was a big, like, when that happened, I was like, oh damn, this motherfucker must have been some
It
kind of
must have
evil.
been. Yeah.
That's it's things, bro, and that impacts the way we live. On a
Yes.
different
It
note,
does.
there is a new website out there. I don't know the name of it. It's an app or a website where regular folk can put their money into a pool or a system to lend to other people.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, like crowdfunding, but more like crowd lending, right? Like you can invest your money and lend it to somebody else on the through this app that needs it.
So there's a couple of different ones I just pulled up. It's collective, collection pot,
There you go. There
splitwise,
you go.
different things.
Yep.
Yep.
So there's resources out there, folks, like to get money. There's a ton, Gary V is one of our how can you say, I don't not mentor, but somebody that we really follow as an influencer in our lives.
Hmm.
And he's basically, look, if you got a phone, you can make money, but you got to
Yep.
put that time into it, right? Like
Yes.
we do live in a world where there are more millionaires in the world than ever
Yeah.
in history.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, that has something to do with the dollar being worth less and inflation and all those things. But $1 million is still if you can make $1 million a year, you are good
Yeah.
money. You're good, right? You are
Yep. Yep.
rich. You're not wealthy, but you're rich. So peep the show
Yep.
where we define both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go check that
You're
out.
definitely rich, but you're not wealthy. But rich is
Yeah,
good.
man.
Rich, hey,
Rich is real.
I that's trying to be rich, you
Rich is
know.
real good.
And you know what I realized recently, and we way over,
No, you good.
is that
Hey, this is William Tincup, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Practitioner Corner podcast. It's a wonderful podcast about the journey the paths of how practitioners, both HR and TA, kind of go from high school, college, all the way to where they are right now. Some of the things that they've learned, how they've been successful, people that thrive around them, etc. It's a fun podcast. You'll love it. You'll learn from it. Subscribe to it. Thanks.
I really was like on some hood rich shit, on some
Yeah.
damn. Like my standards were just not where they should have been. You know what I mean?
Well,
We're trying to be.
yeah.
It was nothing wrong
No,
with it, right? It's still good, but I was
I
just like,
I
wow,
think
I'm really from the
I
hood.
I I no, look, there's some things that being in coming out of the trenches teaches you.
Yep.
Coming up like from that struggle, it teaches you in a certain way. And it may bring back some of the stuff when you're older and be like, man, when I struggled, I did have to pinch every penny
Yeah. Oh heck yeah.
when I struggle. And then so that if you keep some of those good habits, if you take, I think what do they say? You take the good from the
Uh
bad
huh.
and you just apply the good parts of it.
Yep.
Hey, what did I learn from this situation? And you apply it into the situation where you have money, then you can make sure that your kids may and potentially you're hopefully you don't have to worry about the same struggle that you did.
Yep. My little one asked me the other day. She said, "How come you don't wear jewelry?" And
Yes.
I said,
Mhm.
"Well, I did used to have jewelry, but
Yep.
when me and your moms was going through it, we pawned it.
Mm.
And on the rebuild, I only made sure that wifey got new jewelry, more jewelry. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I just became not used to it. You're right, because
Mhm.
the stuff that I
Mhm.
did have, I pawned to get through the struggle,
Yep.
and
Yep.
I just never replaced it. I got some nice watches that I just dug out of my little, my box that, they died and need batteries, they need a shining, so I do want to get
Yeah.
that and stuff. Got some nice watches that I want to get back up to point, but other than that, I'm
Yeah.
not a chain person. Look, my wedding band is from Groove Life, is silicone. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and bro, there's nothing wrong with that. So look, I used to have a problem, and I know we're here,
I
but I
know.
feel like
Sorry, folks. It is good.
this
Yeah.
is all good stuff, right? I used to have a problem when and I had to learn to get out of it, right? Because to your point about people's mindset and where their mindset is, even if they're in a different situation in their life, right? I used to have a lot of shoes. I used to have a lot of nice shoes,
Sneakerhead.
like sneakers and stuff, right?
Yep.
And nice clothes, and I would give stuff away to people
Oh,
because
word?
I felt like, yeah, and but they would wear those things and not value them in
And
my
trashed
head
it. Yeah.
and trashed it, right?
Yep.
And I would feel some type of way like,
Of course.
"Ugh," and I had to get out of it because that's where their mindset is, right? Just because I value something doesn't mean they did. They just
That's
saw it
right.
as, "Hey, this I'm just wearing this.
That's right.
I'm just gonna wear this. I'm gonna put this outfit on and wear it to do my gardening." Which that's not gardening clothes, whatever.
Bro, but
You
it
know?
takes you back to the whole thing of I lent you
Yeah.
money and now you out here doing this and you haven't paid me back yet. Or
Yeah,
I
yeah,
lent
yeah,
you
yeah.
money once upon a time, but you keep making the same mistakes in your life. Or looking at
Yeah,
folks
yeah.
and like, how come you make those decisions with your money and how comes you don't
Yeah,
do
yeah.
looking at other folks with their bad you can't like you're just saying, you can't get caught up in that. You
Yep,
know what I mean? You gotta
yep,
live your life on your terms and let them
yep,
live their life on their terms. And it just again, circling it back, how family, friends impact our finances, how
yep,
our own lives, how our childhood, how our
yep,
past impacts our decisions now and our
yep.
habits and things. It's a big conversation, man.
It is, it is.
And it's an ongoing one. And look, and that's why we're going to do this segment or kind of one and two segments going forward. We're going to tell you how we're saving and we're going to tell you how
Yep,
we're investing and how that
yeah,
goes, right? We're going to look back
yep.
where we can save on things and look
Side
like,
hustle.
yep, how we can take, a few bucks every time we get paid and put it into the stock market. Look, if Trump is
Yeah,
going to drive the stock market up, then why not benefit from it?
yep.
The apps that we have, would you say Webull,
I
Public,
have Webull, Public,
Robinhood,
different
all
things out
these
there.
apps
Uphold. Yep.
you can invest five. I think it's like $1 is the minimum.
Yeah.
$5, $20. So there's no excuse, right? But it's a long game. Don't think that $20
Yeah.
is going to turn into $10,000 next week, right?
Nah,
If you
that
put a
might not.
$1,000 in, it might turn into
Yeah.
10,000 depending on the stock, right? Because you got to be
Yeah.
in it big to win it big. But if you're gonna put in that $20 every time, do your 401k. If they have a match, don't leave that on the table, right? Think about our checks, right? We got earnings, deductions, taxes, spending, or saving,
Yep.
right? And each
Yep.
one of those categories is opportunity to make it better, to make it efficient. In a few weeks, we're
Yep.
going to have an attorney, a lawyer on that is going to
Yep.
teach us how to save with our tax debt. Okay?
Nice. Can't
That's
wait.
big. I can't wait. That's right.
Yep.
So that's what this is about, is learning how to leverage each one of those categories on our paycheck: earnings,
Yep.
taxes, deductions, savings, and spending,
Yep.
right? That net payment. What do you do with your money? Earnings,
Yep.
taxes, and deductions, you don't have a lot of control of, but you have control on your earnings, and you have control on your net pay, your spending and savings, what you do with that.
Sir.
That's what we're going to focus on. That's what this is all about. And we'll go from there, folks. We went way over. We try to keep these show at 30 minutes, but we
Yeah.
just got
Yeah.
passionate about things.
And look, I think we covered the question of the day. I don't think we had to get into it. So I think we'll just
That's
close
right.
out the
Yep.
episode and
Absolutely.
go from there. So until next time, folks.
We love you. Peace.
Peace. Before we sign off, here are a couple quick things. Don't forget to follow It's About Payroll on LinkedIn and It's About Your Paycheck on Facebook and TikTok.
Thank you for being part of our payroll community, and thank you for being a part of this journey with us. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep going.